it is very refreshing that we have a young physical fitness person with us, Associate Professor Dr. Somya Saxena from the Department of Physical and Rehabilitation Medicine from PGIMER, Chandigarh, India, a institution of so high repute that all of us become alert whenever there is a faculty from there. We welcome you to this forum, Dr. Somya. To introduce you, you have had a very high volume of work under your belt at such a young age. You have a very keen interest in gait and motion analysis, rheumatological and neurological rehabilitation, something very important in today's world because of the longevity which women experience, and also because of so many treatment options available for severe diseases where they attain cure but they are not fully themselves. So rehabilitation is very important. Innovations in prosthetics and orthotic devices, pain medicine and sports medicine. So that is a very kind of diverse portfolio you have. Your awards and recognitions are so many. To say a few, you have best paper awards in several international conferences and INCRE fellowship by DBT. So we welcome you to deliver your lecture. So can we have Dr. Somya to share her screen and to start her talk on fitness? Thank you, Somya. Yes.
Good morning to the organizers and all the present dignitaries. May I please confirm is my screen visible to all?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So thank you. I'm Dr. Somya, Associate Professor of Physical and Rehabilitation Medicine at PGI Chandigarh. Going with the theme for today,
Yeah, you can continue.
There was some problem changing the slides.
It will come, I think. It will come if you click on the screen. Yeah, it is seen now. It is seen.
So going with the theme, fitness has no age. Get up and move. My talk today is focused on exercise and physical activity recommendation for target group of perimenopause and postmenopausal women. Let us begin with a quick review or understanding of fitness. It consists of morphological fitness, which includes body composition and bone strength, musculoskeletal fitness. I think the slides are not changing. Can you please see?
See, slides are changing, but hello, you have your timer on. That's why they are moving on themselves. You remove the timer from...
No, ma'am, I am doing it, ma'am. So, ma'am is not sharing. I am sharing.
I'll keep now to change the slides in that case.
Yes.
Okay. Now, ma'am, it is visible?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Right, ma'am.
It's visible. Thank you. Thank you. So we are having a quick review of the fitness, which consists of morphological fitness, which includes body composition and bone strength, musculoskeletal fitness, including muscle strength, endurance and flexibility, motor control, which includes balance and posture, cardiorespiratory fitness, which includes maximum aerobic power, blood pressure, and metabolic fitness, which includes lipid and carbohydrate metabolism. Now, near menopause women face many changes that may lead to loss of health-related fitness. Hence, next slide, please. Hence, it is important to know the natural curve of physical activity for muscle and bone strength across the life course. Here, as we can see, no, please, the previous slide, continue, please. Here, as we can see, the green line, it denotes successful aging with good health and regular physical activity, while the blue one denotes decline in the strength and balance if not a part of the regular activity. Now, those who do regular recommended physical activity develop greater difference in strength and balance and never go below capability threshold in later life. Next slide, please. Hence, postmenopause women face loss of fitness to some extent naturally. Now, in early postmenopausal stage, women could benefit from 30 minutes of daily exercise of moderate walking, just as simple as moderate walking. In 1 to 3 bouts, it could be just 10 minutes bouts of three 10 minutes bouts of walking in a day, plus some amount of resistance training twice a week. For sedentary, it is feasible and can be incorporated in everyday life easily. For resistance training, perform 8 to 10 repetitions of 8 to 10 exercises for major muscle groups, starting with 40% of one repetition maximum. This can be performed at home with little or no equipment. Warm up and cool down with stretching should also be an integral part of any exercise protocol that you follow. So this simple regime, a general thing which I think everybody who is involved in an exercise regime follows, is likely to preserve normal body weight or combined with a weight reducing diet, preserve bone mineral density and increase muscle strength. This may also increase flexibility, balance and coordination, and reduces hypertension and increase cardiovascular fitness as well. Next slide, please. Now, intensity of exercise in everyday physical activity. So we know with the intensity increases heart rate, respiratory rate, and energy consumption. Sedentary lifestyle includes sitting, reclining, or lying idle using little energy above the what is used at rest. Watching TV, mobile, or reading over the laptop, these all are sedentary activities which are an integral part of everybody's life these days. So periods of these sedentary behavior are independent risk factor for poor health outcomes and should be minimized as much as possible. Then comes light activity, which includes cleaning, basic yoga, moderate and vigorous exercises, which are the recommended group of exercises. They include walking, cycling, running, playing football, dancing, swimming, and can be differentiated simply by talk test. Being able to talk but not sing indicates moderate intensity of exercise, while having difficulty talking without taking a pause in between is a sign of vigorous intensity exercise. So very vigorous exercises again, they are performed in short bursts interspersed with rest or breaks, and these are referred as high intensity interval training, for which evidence is building up. And there is emerging data to suggest the benefits by reducing the time, though I personally do not advocate this. Next slide, please. So now let us have a look on the various type of activities which help maintain or improve aerobic capacity, strength, balance, and bone health. So it includes running, climbing, cycling, playing sports, and dancing, walking, and so on. So many. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So if we look at the overall impact, there is good evidence in favor of physical well-being in the form of prevention and management of medical conditions. For mental well-being in the form of improved happiness, self-esteem, and cognition, and individual, social, and economic development just by doing exercise is a routine to follow. There is mixed evidence to support improved sleep and energy levels by doing regular exercises. It also helps in reducing anxiety, stress, and depression, and there are building evidences for its favor. But then there are gaps due to no clear recommendations on type of exercise and impact on specific groups, impact on older individuals due to absence of longitudinal studies. Next slide, please. So typically, the exercise program for postmenopausal women should include the endurance exercise, which is aerobic, strength exercises, and balance. It should aim for 2.5 hours of moderate intensity aerobic activity, gradually building from the current level of the individual every week. So using simple pedometers or step counters these days are very helpful in tracking the progress towards the guideline, the recommended guideline of moderate to vigorous physical activity. So I'll give you some basic ideas like 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity is what is the recommendation, and it coincides with approximately taking 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day. Now, this evidence suggests that 45 to 55 steps per day for improved health-related quality of life may be incorporated in the beginning if you are progressing from a sedentary lifestyle or from a lower level of daily routine activities. Then 7,000 steps per day for better immune function, they have been proven. 8 to 10,000 steps per day have an effect on metabolic syndrome and maintenance of weight. And if you further are aiming at reduction of weight, you need to go beyond this, beyond 10,000 steps a day, if that is the sole activity that you're doing. Now, inclusion of balance and strength improves confidence and stability. Some simple things which can be done without any assistance are sit to stand, stair climbing, home-based strengthening programs, balancing exercises. I'll give you an idea, and then my colleague Dr. Elchin will take over and give practical demonstration. Now, these kind of things also help make smooth transition from sedentary to recommended physical activity guidelines that help improve aerobic activity, like brisk walking is the first thing that we advise in our OPDs. Next slide, please. Okay, so now let us address few commonly encountered questions which I was given. I'll try my best to answer them. So first is why exercise? Let us have a look on what exercise does actually. It increases the cardiorespiratory function. If done regularly, it reduces the metabolic risk associated with declining estrogen. It increases HDL, reduces LDL, triglycerides, and fibrinogen. And there's an additional benefit of a reduced risk of high BP, heart attacks, and stroke. Exercises can help create calorie deficit and hence minimize midlife weight gain. It increases bone mass, strength training, and impact activities like walking or running can help offset the decline of bone mineral density and prevent osteoporosis. It also improves low back pain, just general activity level. Improvement in activity level decreases the incidence and even the severity of low back pain. It is proven to help reduce stress and improve mood, and it may help to reduce hot flashes, which is still not evidence-based completely. Next slide, please. So menopause brings in a whole lot of changes in the body of women, and in most leads to trouble. Some symptoms, namely vasomotor, sleep disturbances, fatigue, aches, and pains, altered cognitive function, genitourinary problems, and weakness of connective tissue supporting the pelvic viscera. All these effects influence the quality of life adversely. Long-term sequelae such as osteoporosis, sarcopenia, neurologic and cardiovascular events also tend to increase post-menopause. So exercise generally affects positively against all of these symptoms. Next slide, please. So now we have evidence that exercise improves bone mineral density, lean muscle mass, decreases risk for cardiovascular diseases, and increase the symptoms of menopause and hence increase the quality of life. Please, next slide. Coming to the next question, which exercise? So it depends according to the baseline status of the individual, the women, comorbidities, any that she has, activity level, and the attitude. Like, for example, for osteoporosis, short bouts of weight-bearing impact exercise of 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 20 repetitions done for 4 days a week have a positive effect. Moderate to high magnitude loads for more than 2 to 3 times of body weight are the recommended exercise for bone building, and they should include multi-directional movement patterns for holistic bone remodeling or maintenance. Now, goals differ with baseline. Bone mineral density from maximizing bone and muscle strength to preserve existing strength and precautions. Exercise guidelines include high-impact exercises, jumping, hopping, skipping, progressive resistive training, and balance exercise. Next slide, please. So such guidelines differ with different medical conditions, but there is something important to note. Click, please. That all include aerobic type of exercises. Can you click, please, to change the slide? All the aerobic type of exercise, all medical conditions advocate the aerobic exercises as a primary mode, moderate to vigorous intensity, and balance training. Next slide, please. Further next, please. Yeah. So hence the recommended exercises are endurance exercises or the aerobic ones which increase cardiovascular fitness, strengthening training or strengthening exercises which increase muscle mass, balance training which ascertains fall prevention and safe execution, and flexibility training. Next slide, please. So here are some aerobic exercises which we can easily do daily, like treadmill, brisk walking, bicycling, stationary cycling, dancing, Zumba, etc. Next slide, please. Further, these are classified into high and low impact aerobics. So wherein high burn more calories, they are more intense and stressful, like running, plyometrics, jumping, dancing, and these can be done only for short duration. While the low intensity aerobics can be continued for longer durations, for obvious reasons. Next slide, please. Then coming to the balance exercises, these are important as with the age proprioception decreases automatically, and basic balance training must be an integral part of any postmenopausal exercise regime. It includes barefoot walk, single leg stands in with progressive difficulty levels, tandem walking, and balance board exercises. Next slide, please. Then there are pelvic floor exercises, which are an important part for women post-menopause. These will be further discussed by my colleague, Dr. Anchan, in the practical part. Next slide, please. Yeah, then the question is how to do exercise. So while getting started, the key is to start slow and do enjoyable things, as has been very clearly, nicely advocated by Satyendra sir. So things like walking, doing gardening, dancing, cycling, whatever, or the group fitness classes if it gives you fun, are the ones which should be the initiation of exercises. Then what does matter is the regularity, consistency, and perseverance. The mode remains the same: endurance and aerobics. Next slide, please. Okay, so how to progress? Progression should be considered on individual basis with gradual increments in the following fashion only. First, increase the speed or the repetitions, then the resistance or the load, and then the duration. This is how it should be increased or progressed over the time for both aerobic and strength training. Next slide, please. So coming to the last question, how much exercise? So going with the standard recommendations, moderate to vigorous physical activity of 30 minutes per day is the standard recommendation for at least 5 days a week. Now, to determine the grade of exercise intensity, commonly and traditionally used measure was target heart rate, where 22 minus age is the maximum heart rate and 60 to 85% of the maximum heart rate is the target zone where you need to fit your physical activity level in. Another accurate measure was metabolic equivalent of a particular exercise group and rate of perceived exertion, where the exercising person himself or herself rate the load, the intensity of the exercise on the scale of 10. 4 to 6 is moderate and 7 to 8 is vigorous activity. Simple way is the talk test that we have already discussed in this talk. Finally, next slide, please. Let us summarize the general exercise recommendation, which are 5 days or more of 30 to 60 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, 3 days or more of 20 to 30 minutes of vigorous activity, or a combination of both. There is strong recommendation in favor of in favor of the exercises for adults to do muscle strengthening activity at moderate or greater intensity that involve all major muscle groups. The groups and the demonstration shall be given by my colleague in the next session. 2 or more days a week should be done for resistance training, and this has been proven to provide additional health benefits. Next slide, please. So this is a sample exercise program with warm-up time period of 5 to 10 minutes consisting of moderate intensity cardiorespiratory and muscular endurance activities, then a conditioning phase of at least 20 minutes up to 1 hour of aerobic resistance, neuromotor and or sports activities. And then a cool down phase again of 5 to 10 minutes with low to moderate intensity cardiorespiratory and endurance activities. Flexibility training of at least 10 minutes with the stretching should be performed. It could be done either after warm up or after the cool down phase. Next slide, please. So